Hello fellow gaijins, welcome back to the channel. I haven't done an episode like this in a while, and I thought we should continue these episodes because they are quite fun to make and also probably really educational and also a good practice for you guys if you are watching my Japanese Basics for Beginners series. This is where we stopped last time, and I've been always saying that the part where the adults talk is kind of hard, but it's really short, and now we've actually arrived at that part. So here, if we go to the next page, you can see that they start talking to each other, and Yotsuba is gone somewhere else because of the butterfly, which kind of took her attention. Now, why did I always say that this is kind of hard? And that's because it's really hard to get everything they're saying, like every little nuance is kind of hard to understand, and I tried to really look through it and understand every little piece of it to be able to explain it to you guys, but because they use a lot of slang and just colloquial stuff and colloquial word structures, it's really hard to get the gist and the feeling of what they want to tell to each other. If you just read through it, it may sound logical what they're saying, but at the same time some words or expressions are kind of hard to really place into what meaning they have. Anyway, I'm sure you'll see what I mean in a second if we just start reading. So the father says, なんか俺体力低下してんな。手が震える。お前さ、近所に挨拶で配る粗品とか用意してるか？そうか、そういうのしなきゃな。頭いいな、お前。じゃあ、俺が用意してきてやる。お前が片付けてろ。変なもん持ってくんなよ。俺はプリンが好きなんだ。いや、お前の思考はいい。ところでさ、四つ葉どこだ？いなくなった。Now, there are a few words that we have to look at and probably look at the meaning and explain what they mean, but in general it's readable, I think. I'm sure you'll get the gist if you just read through it carefully. But let's just start at the top at this first frame, and then we'll just work our way through it. So the father says, なんか俺体力低下してんな。手が震える。The nanka means somehow. So he's somehow blah blah blah. And then he says 俺体力. And 俺体力 feels strange because it's two nouns without any particle between them. And usually you would put a no here, but there is nothing in here. And yeah, that's kind of strange because usually you would say 俺の体力 or 俺は体力. 体力 just means physical strength, because tai is the kanji for body, and this is the kanji for strength or power, so ryoku. If you would read this as a standalone kanji, it would be chikara, and this would be karada if it would be standalone. And together it just gives you tairyoku, which are the onyomi readings of those kanji. Teika shiten na. Teika is a fall or a decline. So just something gets worse with time. Okay, this next form is kind of strange because it's pressed together, and here we can already see that the colloquial expressions and just slang really shines through their sentences. So here, if I would not use a slang or a colloquial expression, I would say 低下してるんだな. But because he just wants to say this really short, he just says してんな. The gist of this would be している, which is the te form plus iru, which is doing at the moment, or it's just something that happens without, it's not a single action, but it's something ongoing. And しているなんだな, the nan, which here is just shortened to n, is telling somebody something. It's usually introducing new information, and you want to just enforce this by using this nano or nan in front of the des. So nano des or nanda. Here it just shortens to n. Shiten. And then the na at the end is just the na after the des, which he doesn't use, right? So shiten na. So it's kind of hard to understand, but I'll try to show it graphically here and how it gets shorter with time. I hope I can kind of like do this in a way that you would understand how it kind of gets like shorter and more practical to use, and also really easy to pronunciate. But this is really like slangish way of just saying the same thing. But if you would like translate this sentence, it's like somehow my or me, well, ore means me. It's a really masculine way of saying I or me. And here it's just my power, like physical strength, is really like it's getting worse. And it's getting is something that is ongoing. It's like something that just happens over time. It's not something that happens once or in general, but it's something that is happening right now. That's why they use the している form here. 低下してんな. And the na again is the same thing we've had in the last episode where I tried to explain it, like how it works and stuff like that. There are a lot of different usages for this, but it's more like, yeah, a dreamy way of just ending a sentence. I hope you kind of get the gist of this sentence. And he says, 手が震える. 手 just means hand. And ga is the particle, so the hand is the subject. And 震える is the verb. 震える just means to tremble. Like his hand is trembling, or just in general trembles, because it's not 震えてる, but it's just 震える. So it's not a present continuous verb, so it's more like a general thing that happens. So his physical power is decreasing, and he says his hands are trembling. Jumbo here just comes in with a totally different topic and kind of ignores what father here says, but he says, お前さ、近所に挨拶で配る粗品とか用意してるか? This is really hard to like read fluently, but let's just start at the beginning. お前さ. お前 means you in a very rude and direct way, but if you use it with friends or family or just people that are really close to you, it is usable. Especially between men, it's very common. The sa here at the end is kind of saying something more assertive, like in an assertive way. If you could just leave this away and be like, お前, but お前さ is like, I'm talking about you, you know, you should listen. お前さ, 近所に, 近所 means neighbors, or just neighbor, but here it's neighbors probably. 近所に挨拶で配る粗品とか. Let's stop here. 近所に is a direction, so to the neighbors or for the neighbors, or it just goes towards the neighbors, right? So the next words are going to be directed to the neighbors. 近所に挨拶, which means to greet someone. For example, just go to them and say hi. That's what 挨拶 means. 挨拶で配る. 配る means to distribute or just to give in a sense. So this is just 配る, and then we have 粗品. 粗品 is like a gift or just like something. For example, companies give these often to like customers, like something to show gratitude, for example. And the same can be applied here to like go to your neighbors and give them out of politeness something to show them that you like want to have a good relationship with them. So usually this is used for those kind of presents. It's basically a politeness present. And toka here is for example. It just means for example. You can use this for example. Yeah, you could say, if you want to make a enumeration of things and say this for example, and this for example, or this for example, you can just use toka. So for example, let's take different colors. So if you would be like, why don't you make it a more beautiful color? For example, red, blue, or green. You could say, 赤いとか青いとか緑とか. So you just make an enumeration. I'm not sure how you call it, but you basically just say, for example, this or this or this or this. It's really easy to use. The next word would be yoi. Yoi is to prepare. It's preparation, but combined with the verb suru, which you can see here. Here, shiteru. If you combine it with the verb suru, it becomes a verb. yoi suru. It's like benkyou suru, which means to learn or to study. And it means to prepare something. So he basically asks the father if he prepared some like trifling goods for the neighbors. For example, right? This shiteru ka is shiteimasu ka, shiteiru ka, and it means like usually when you have shiteiru ka or just shiteiru, the te plus iru form, you're talking about a verb that is done or an action that is done right now. So doing or going, preparing, right? But in this instance, it's used to say that something is already prepared. We haven't talked about this, but it's more like, did you already prepare this? And it sounds like it would be a verb in the past. And I'm pretty sure you could do this with a verb in past tense somehow, but this form is more correct. Like it really gives a feeling of, have you done it already? And because he hasn't given anything yet, it is still like prepared. So it's not an action that is done right now, but it's more like a fact that is still going on. I hope you kind of get this. Like it's something that is used often, and I think it's good if you understand the difference between doing something in the moment and something being prepared and then still being relevant at the moment. Those are two different things, but the form that you use is the same to express both of them. So shiteiru can mean to be doing something right now, or to have done something that is important for later. So if something was prepared, for example, this form is often used. So if you want to summarize this bubble, it would be something like, so did you prepare something for your neighbors? Like, do you have a gift for them or something like that? And the father says, "Sokka, そういうのしなきゃな." Now this sentence gives me a headache because there's so many forms I have not talked about yet in any video, but it's basically sokka just means, oh yeah, oh okay. It's like you acknowledge that you understand what the other person is saying, and this is basically feedback to this. So you're like, oh yeah, I hear you. And then he says, so you know. So you can use this also with ko, like for example, koko, soko, asoko. Here you can use ayu, soyu, and koyu, right? Those three. And they are usually used for saying something like that. So the thing you are talking about, if you want to describe something but you don't know how to describe it, you can give an example and say koyu no. So koyu is like describing something without really describing it, but showing an example. And he just references the thing he said and says like something like that, right? The no is just a replacement for kubaru soshina, so a replacement for the gift. A gift like that, shinakia na. Shinakia is another tricky thing. Shinakia is basically must do or have to do. Now, why is it this? You could use this exactly like this and it's always correct. So it always works if you just say shinakia. It means to have to do. But there are about 20 different ways to say the same thing. For example, shinai to ikenai means to have to do. Shinakucha ikenai. In polite form, shinakucha ikemasen also means to have to do or must do. Shinakia ikenai, again, means the same thing. Now, if you're talking very, very casually, you can just leave the ikenai away and just say shinakia or shinaito or shinakucha. All those things mean the same thing, and it's just to have to do. You can use this with other verbs as well. So any verb works. For example, tabenakia just means I have to eat. The easiest way to do this is to take the verb in its negative casual form. So for example, tabenai, shinai, ikanai, and then just take away the e at the end of the sentence, the I, right? And then add kya. That's the easiest way. So shinakia. That's why this form is used here. Like he says, oh yeah, such a gift, so you know, I have to do. I still have to make such a gift for them. That's basically what this is saying. And the na at the end, again, same na as always. Then he says, atama ii na omae. Na again, same na as here. Just ending the sentence with a little bit more of a feeling. It's hard to say why they use this all the time, but if they wouldn't, the sentence would feel kind of stale. Yeah, it makes the sentence more emotional, I guess. There are a lot of usages for this. But Japanese always has some sort of suffix at the end of sentences just to give the sentences more nuance. Atama ii is basically the adjective for intelligent. So, of course, here it's not really an adjective as a whole because atama is a noun and it means head. But it basically just says you have a good head. But a good head in Japanese means you're intelligent. So, atama ii just means intelligent. Atama ii na omae. Omae means just you. You're intelligent. Oh, you're smart. Jumbo then says, じゃあ、俺が用意してきてやる. Again, really confusing. Why he does this, I don't know, but casual Japanese can be really hard sometimes to understand, even harder than polite Japanese if you are a beginner. じゃあ is alright. 俺が I with the particle ga. So I is a subject. 俺が用意. Again, same word as here. Preparation. With suru it becomes to prepare. So 用意して, which is the te form of suru. 用意してきて. Let's make a short summary of the te form again. The te form is used when you want to be or say something imperative. So just して in itself means do. So do that, do something. But the te form also has another function. And the function that I'm talking about is to combine two verbs that are consecutive. If you, for example, say 行ってきます, that is just a phrase that everybody uses in Japan and you've definitely heard it somewhere. 行ってくる, 行ってきます. And it just means I will go and then come, basically. Like it's a set phrase and it feels strange to say, but it just means I will go now, bye-bye, but I will come back. So you just don't leave. So that's why people don't say like sayonara or something, because that just means I'm gonna leave and I'm never coming back. But yeah, してきて is basically してくる. So I'm gonna do and then come. And やる at the end could be interpreted as してきてやる. I will do, come, and then do again. Because やる also means to do. But I think in this instance, やる is more like a thing that Jumbo wants to do for the father. I wish I knew his name, but I don't, so. I think it's written somewhere. I should look it up afterwards, but whatever. I'll just call him the father for now. Yeah, so as I was saying, Jumbo just says してきてやる, and that just means I will prepare it for you. Now let me show you, here is a dictionary entry for yaru. There are a lot of different meanings for this verb, like a lot. And sometimes it's really hard to know which of these is actually used. But here, in this instance, I think he means that he wants to do something for him. Like if you go here, yaru can also mean to give. Yes, here, to give. To let have, to present, to bestow. So you just kind of give something to someone. And the same thing you can do with the verb. Like you can say, I will do it for you. Like give you the act of doing. Something like that, right? So that's I think that's what he means here. But it could also just mean, I will prepare it, come, and then do it. And to do it here would just mean like probably it could mean that he would like to give them to the neighbors. Like instead of the father, he would do it for him. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure that it's not the way he wanted to say this here, but more like I will prepare it for you. And then he says お前 片付けてろ。片付けてろ. Again, this is very casual, very colloquial, and there is a difference between 片付けて and 片付けてろ. So as we said before, ている can be the continuation of an action, but also the continuation of a state. So when something is in a relevant state, so something is not really happening because it's not an action, but it's a state, ている is also used. And if you see this form, so the te form plus ro at the end, or iro, which is the imperative form of iru, it would just be the continuation of an action. So you continue to do that, I will do the preparation for you, is basically what he said with this bubble. The father then, after going out, says, 変なもん持ってくんなよ. Very casual again, very colloquial again. 変なもん. Mon is mono. Mono just means object. Hen means weird, so a weird object. Na is a particle used with na adjectives in between the noun that has to be described and the adjective. Hen is the adjective here. So hen na mon, mono. Mottekuru just means to bring. So here mottekunna yo means don't bring, and it's imperative. This is a strange form and used by men often if they talk casually. So if we would look at the long version of whatever this is, it would be motte konaide ne, or motte konaide. So motte konaide means don't bring, right? Because the same as we did before with the two verbs, one in te form and the next one is just a continuation, so a consecutive action to the one before. So motte is the first action and kuru is the second action. Motte in itself just means to hold, and motte kuru is a verb form very often used, so it's a very common verb form. That's why it's a single verb. It's not really looked at as two verbs, as two separate verbs, but as a single verb. But if it would be two separate verbs, it would function like that. And that's also why this is as it is, because of this verb structure. But here, motte kuru, motte konai, transforms in motte kunna. Motte kunna is just a verb form you just have to remember, because there is no real grammar to it. It's just, well, there is grammar, but of course it's not very textbook grammar. It's very slangish Japanese, and it's just the same meaning as motte konaide, and the yo is just a manly way of saying ne. So don't do that. Yeah? Okay? Did you understand? Jumbo answers with 俺はプリンが好きなんだ. 俺は just means me. Pudding is pudding. Ga is always used with 好き. And then 好きなんだ just means 好き is to like, right? And we talked about nano des or nanda before, but it just means to let someone know. So you're adding new information into the conversation. Probably he didn't know that, and he just says it so that he knows. I don't know why, it sounds kind of unfitting here, but that's basically what this is saying. So I like pudding, by the way. And the father just says, いや、お前の思考はいい. Ya is a casual way of saying いえ. That just means no. お前の, so your, 思考, which means taste or preference, はいい. Now usually if you see this, you would just think, oh, that means that it's a good thing, because いい means good, right? But if you look at the underlying context of this bubble, it actually means no, I don't really care about what you like, or that's not important. はいい as a literal translation would mean it's good, but it often can also mean that it's unnecessary, so. And this is what he means by that. So he's like, why are you saying this? This is not relevant to the topic. Like, you don't have to bring what you like. And then Jumbo again changes topic and says, ところでさ, Yotsubaどこだ? ところで means by the way. And the sa again, assertive way of saying something like, he wants that the father gives his attention to what he says now. Yotsuba Doko da. Doko just means where, and da is this in the casual form, very often used by men. Japanese women would probably say Yotsuba doko? Inakunatta, says the father. And that just means she's not here, or she disappeared. Inakunaru means to disappear. Alrighty, I hope you understood what I just explained. It was kind of hard to understand, I think, because there was a lot happening grammar-wise. So if you have any questions to the page where they are talking, please let me know in the comments. Let's start with the next page anyway. Let's read through it real quick. まあ、腹減ったら帰ってくるだろう。んじゃあ、見つけたら拾っとくわ。ああ、そうしてくれ。頼む。さて、どっから手をつけるかな。And then you can see that this girl we don't know kind of rides her bike here, which is relevant for the next episode, but first let's read through it in more detail. Ma. Ma is a very Japanese expression, and it kind of doesn't really have a meaning. It's more like, yeah, something like that. Hard to really say it in words, but it's like this feeling, like of hearing what the other said, kind of agreeing, but at the same time not really wanting to say too much about it. Like you agree, but like it's like not a strong feeling. Hara hettara. Hara heru literally translated means that your stomach is empty. Hara hettara means that, well, if, this is conditional by the way, if her stomach is empty, which means if she's hungry, kaete kuru daro. Kaete is the te form of kaeru, which means to come home. Kuru is just to come. And daro is the daro we talked about in episode 11 of the Japanese Basics for Beginners series, I think. But it just means probably, like it might. It's often used in tenki yoho, which is the weather forecast, because it's like it might rain. It's not 100% sure, but it probably will rain. So when talking about chance, you use this daro. Remember, the intonation goes down because if you would use high intonation, so like rising intonation, then it would mean something else. Rising intonation usually means that you're looking for the approval of the person you're talking to. So, right? Yeah, we've talked about this in depth in the video, so check that out if you want to learn more about it. To talk a bit more about this conditional form, it is basically just you can take any verb in the past casual form, so informal past form, and then just add a ra at the end. And it kind of becomes this conditional form that means if something happens, and then you can finish the sentence with whatever. So, hara hettara, onaka suitara, soba tabetara. It works with a lot of different verbs and it's really easy to use. So he says if she's gonna be hungry, she's gonna come home. Here, kaete kuru, again, is this te form plus another verb, so those are consecutive actions. So she would come and come, basically. Really strange form here. Kaete kuru is something that is not really easily translated because it's just twice the same thing, because kaeru just means coming home already. But it's often used like this, so you just have to remember this form as coming home. Nja is the same as ja, and he says, mitsuketara hirottoku wa. Here again, mitsuketara is the same if conditional form as we have here. So if I find her, mitsukeru means to find, by the way. If I find her, hirou is to pick up, and here it's hirottoku. So we had this before where we had like this oitoku, where it was oite oku. And here again we have the same form. Te oku is often just something you do in advance. So yeah, that's all there is to it. So if you want to like save money, you would use this form to say that. So okane tametoku. 貯めておく. 貯める means to save. お金 means money. So, same principle. Father says, そうしてくれ. そうして. So is just like that. して is the te form of する. And くれ comes from くれる. And it is this rough imperative form of this verb. So, くれる is usually used with the te form of any verb, and it just means do it for me. So here it's そうしてくれ. Please do it like that for me. Imperative. Here again, んじゃ. He's like, all right, I'm going, bye. And the father is like, 頼む. The is yes. 頼む means I am counting on you. Then he says, さて. Sate is really interesting because it can be used in a lot of different situations, but it's often used when you want to say, all right, on to the next thing. All right, now I will do the next, action. So he's like, all right, let's continue. どっから手をつけるかな? どっから is basically どこから, but in short casual form, short slang form. どこから? So where from? 手をつける is like where should we like lay hands on next? So where should we work? What should we work on next? Is what he means by this. And kana is this wondering form at the end of the sentence. So he is wondering about. So he's wondering about what or where he should continue doing something. Alright, I'm tired now. I gotta stop this episode because this was a lot of grammar and stuff to explain. And I'm really happy to have gone through this because I learned a lot as well. Like, I've remembered stuff I didn't really use before that now I can try to use in actual conversations. And I like this page a lot because it's hard, but you can learn a lot from it. I hope you kind of enjoyed this episode. If you did, consider leaving a like. Tell me in the comments if you didn't like something or if you liked something or if you have specific feedback for me. I would be really appreciative of that because I can improve on my explaining technique. I could go faster, slower. Same thing as always. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it and I will see you in the next episode. またね.